Hi, I'm Mindy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to create my week 2 TBR for February Fantasy Stories, which is a fantasy reading event going all through the month of February, hosted by a whole bunch of great channels that I will have linked down below. And week 2 is Sword and Sorcery, and I have 3 anthologies that I cannot choose which of the awesome stories I want to read. So I'm going to let a D20 decide for me. I'm going to be choosing 12 stories, which is enough for 2 stories for 6 days out of the week. There are some chances of increasing or decreasing that number. I have all the stories written down on poster boards. The Sword and Sorcery anthology has 19 stories. So if I roll a nat 20, choose any story. Swords Against Darkness has 19 stories when I took out any repeats from the other 2 anthologies. And if I roll a nat 20, I can choose any story from that anthology as well. And then the Swords and Dark Magic anthology only has 17 stories. So if I roll an 18, I get to skip a roll, so then I will only be picking 11 stories total, or 3 for this anthology. If I roll a 19, I need to add 1 more roll from this anthology, so I'd be choosing 5 from this anthology. And if I roll a 20, I get to choose any story. So now I'm gonna set up the camera for a good angle to see what I roll. And I will be back. Okay, so first I'm going to start with my 4 rolls for the Sword and Sorcery anthology. Roll number 1. That is a 2. Story 2 is Black God's Kiss. So I will read that story. Next roll. Can you even see that? It's a 14. Number 14 is dun, 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 The Red Guild. Next, six. Number 6 is The Adventures. The last one for Sword and Sorcery anthology is 4. Which is The Tale of Hawk. Next up, Swords Against Darkness. First roll. 14. Can you see number 14 on here? It is The Tale of Dragons and Dreamers by Samuel R. Delaney. Roll number 2. Can you see that? It's an 8. A Thief in Corinth by C.J. Chera. What is that, a number 1? Oh, it's a 7. 7 is A Hero at the Gates by Tanith Lee. And fourth final roll. 19. 19 is The Plague Givers by Cameron Hurley. I haven't read anything by Cameron Hurley yet, but I have been wanting to, so excited for that. Last anthology, Swords and Dark Magic, the new Sword and Sorcery. That is what is that? 19. 19 is add one story. So I'll be reading 4 stories from this anthology. 13. 13 is In the Stacks by Scott Lynch. I am just about done with my first Scott Lynch book, The Liza Locke Lamora. I'm really enjoying it. So I'd love to see a short story from him. Ooh, a number 1. Number 1, the first story in the anthology, is Goats of Glory by Steven Erikson. Third roll. Another 19? Are we serious? Is this thing a loaded dice or what? Okay, I guess I'm reading 6 stories from this anthology. Number 3. Number 3 is Bloodsport by Gene Wolfe, another author that I've heard a lot about. Exciting. 15. 15 is The Sea Troll's Daughter by Caitlin R. Kiernan. Okay, I have read something from them before, and it was a very weird story. So this might be weird fantasy, which I'm okay with. Or maybe it's straight up sword and sorcery. I guess we'll find out. The Sea Troll's Daughter has the coolest title. So, alright. So that would be my 4, but now I have to add on the 2 extra rolls. I rolled number 1 again. 18. Skip 1 roll. Huh. What does that mean? Okay, so I get to take off one of the added stories. So, instead of 6, I only need 5. 11. So my 5th and final story from this anthology is The Undefiled by Greg Keyes. So, in conclusion, from the Sword and Sorcery anthology, I'll be reading Black God's Kiss by C.L. Moore, The Tale of Hawk by Paul Anderson, The Adventures by Joanna Russ, and The Red Guild by Rachel Pollack. Having so much trouble with my tripod. I'm just winging it here. I had to MacGyver it to make it do the last scene. Anyway. Okay. Swords Against Darkness. I'll be reading A Hero at the Gates by Tanith Lee. A Thief in Corinth by C.J. Cherith. The Tale of Dragons and Dreamers by Samuel R. Delaney. And The Plague Givers by Cameron Hurley. And finally, from Swords and Dark Magic, I'll be reading Goats of Glory by Steven Erikson, Bloodsport by Gene Wolfe, The Undefiled Filed by Greg Keyes. In the Stacks by Scott Lynch. And The Sea Troll's Daughter by Caitlin R. Kiernan. Most of these authors are ones I've heard about but have not read a whole lot from, so I'm excited to get a little taste of their short fiction and read some great sword and sorcery fantasy during this week. And I better go get started on all this reading. I'll be back very soon with another book-related video. Thanks. Bye.